Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Yorick. Hope you're doing great today. Just enjoying my coffee, and I thought I had to talk shop a little bit about cost of living in Portugal. I get a lot of messages and people wanting to know where can they go to get accurate or up-to-date information on what the cost of living is in Portugal. And I think this is a place that I've gone to for years. It's called Numbio, where you can take a home, where you live right now, unless it's in like a small village, they may not have that information, but call it the biggest town or city near where you live, and you can compare that to different places in and around mainland Portugal, as well as the Azores and Madeira, to try to get a feel for what you'd be paying for daily items and essentials now versus what you would be moving to Portugal. Now, that's one place that I would go, but the place that I think sometimes when it comes to food anyway, that I would recommend, and I'm going to put a link in the description as well as a pinned comment, is a grocery store called Pingo Doce. Now, there are many places to buy goods, buy food in Portugal. And so I'm not advocating that everyone go here, but by proximity and by the demographic and what I've learned from living in Portugal, there are more Pingo Doces across Portugal, even in smaller municipalities than, let's say, other places like Aldi's and Continent and Intermarché and Auchan. There's El Corte Inglés. There's many places that you can go, as well as your local mini market, to be able to get food and essentials. But I wanted to talk about Pingo Doce specifically because sometimes when I've looked at Numbio or I've looked at other cost of living comparison websites, sometimes the information is a little bit off or not necessarily, it's a little dated, if you will. So for me, when I want to know how much food costs are, I go to Pingo Doce because whether I'm living in Lisbon or Porto or Coimbra or in a smaller municipality, most likely a smaller town or village will most likely have a Pingo Doce over another competing concept. I want to know how much goods are. So I go to the weekly ad, which I'm just pulling up a couple pages from the weekly ad as I'm posting this video, and then you can go and look as well to get a feel for how much does food and I'll say household items cost in Portugal. And it's a good barometer. Now, granted, if you're coming from a country that uses kilograms as a way to measure, then there's no issue for you. If you're coming from the United States, you do need to convert that. So when you're looking at things, it's not, I'll say, not apples and apples, no pun intended. It's kilograms versus pounds. So you have to convert in your head and go, okay, what's a kilogram of apples cost versus what you're used to in the States. But for me, when people have asked, right now, what is the cost of living outside of property, but specifically what it costs if we're going to prepare food at home or buy food and toilet paper and shampoo and things of that nature. This place to me is where my go-to and what I send a link to going, go to this website, check out the weekly coupons so that way you can just see what things cost when you're going to be moving and living in Portugal. I think it's a great way. It's up to date because it's week to week, and it's really something that it hits home in a way that sometimes when you look at Numbio or when you talk to people, if someone were just to call me and say, what am I going to do without going to Portugal and actually going into a grocery store or going into a restaurant per se, I would say check out the weekly mailer here and find out what's going on with the price, because it also might give you an idea of if restaurants are buying from, let's say, a Pingo Doce, how much they may be charging and turning around for, let's say, a salad or a meat or a fish dish of some sort. For us, when we lived in Portugal, probably 90% of the time we ate at home. So our overall cost was much lower than pretty much all of our friends who went out most days of the week to eat. We had breakfast at home, we had lunch mostly at home, and dinners. Sometimes on a Friday or a Saturday we'd go out. But we made things because we wanted to keep our overall budget lower, and going out can really impede on that. So we had a certain budget we were working with. And being able to look at this Pingo Dos ad and being able to really look at that, and we did that before we moved in 2019, that's something that really helped us to determine, all right, what are we really going to spend on things, and how does that compare to what we were spending in Phoenix, Arizona. So I hope that you would use a couple of things. Numbeo, go there, check out, you can compare. You can actually compare more than just your city to one city in Portugal. You can compare multiple cities if you want to get a feel for what looks good to you. But then I'd also check out the Pingo Dos ads. So whether you're thinking about moving right now when you watch this video, or a year or two from now and you happen to see this video, check it out. It's a good way to be able to use it as a barometer as you're starting to fill in your budget of how much can you spend on property, trying to get a feel for taxes and what you're looking at. Do you need a car? Are you going to use public transportation? All of that comes into the mix. The food and these essential goods are going to be something that you need to plug a number in. And going to the Pingo Dos website, for me, is the best way to give you an actual gauge of what you're going to be spending for food and some essential home goods. So hope this video is useful to you, and I hope you can pass this along to others and let them know, let others know, comment below. What do you use to get a feel for cost of living? Prior to living to Portugal, did you use certain websites to get a feel? Did you do a scouting trip and then try to figure out from there what's real and what's more fiction? Love to get some comments and a discussion about this. As always, thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your travels. And if you made it this far, please look on Amazon, type in my name, and try to buy a book or two. It helps the cause. Thank you so much.